Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an entertaining article titled, I'd Never Split the Bill. People call me a gold digger, but they've just got low standards. And a big shout out to Max for sending me this article. And guys, this article is all about a gal. She is 24 years old, from New York, a TikToker, no surprise there, and a dating coach. And essentially, she is coaching young women to be gold diggers. There's no other way to describe this. Coaching them that it never ever accept a date from a guy who wants to meet up for a coffee date. Things like that. How gals should know their worth and live accordingly and try to find that high value guy that will spend all that money on them because they deserve it. And that'd be a great one to go over here, guys, again, to show you what is out there, what is being taught. And what's interesting is everything she says is the exact opposite of what I tell you guys to do. I'm sure you're aware of this. I tell you guys never on a first date take him out for this expensive dinner, spend all his money. Why? Because so many women use guys. They'll go out with a guy on purpose they have no interest in whatsoever, ever, to get a free meal. Get a free meal, take some Instagram pictures, brag to their friends, and that's that. Or they want that because they want that guy who they know darn well. They want to spend that money on them, get the guy that they think is high value, has resources, can fit the mold what they want, make a potential boyfriend just to use him, nothing more. And maybe they might like him, but if he doesn't have resources, none of that. Or also, they are high and mighty. They have giant egos, high and mighty. By choosing one drink, you'll disqualify a lot of gals that are like this. You're not going to be used by a gal that has no interest in you at all, or not be used only because you got resources. Like, okay, I'll give him a chance to go out with him, but if he doesn't spend money on me, no chance. Or get stuck in a relationship with a gal with a rotten attitude, thinks she's high and mighty. It's a great way to weed them out. But here, she's teaching the gals to never give a guy a time of the day, like if he doesn't spend all his money on her. And as more guys watch this type of content, these gals that she is coaching are in for a rude awakening. And she, as a dating coach, is going to be out of business because these girls are going to be like, you're teaching me the wrong thing. But anyhow, I'm going to read through this, and you guys will definitely find this entertaining and not at all surprising. It says here, an influencer says her strict dating rules frequently see her branded a gold digger online, but insists that she simply has high standards. For Ella Freeman, dating a man who isn't generous with his wallet is not an option. And the 24-year-old isn't bothered about those who label her money hungry. Well, I want to point something out before we get too far in this thing. I'm going to include the link to the article. You can click on it and see what she looks like. She's 24, in her prime. And looking at some of the pictures, I didn't dig beyond the article. She's pretty. And looks like one picture you can see what she looks like, and out in the street. Haha. Tan, fit body. But she's not that hot. And yet, she's in her prime, and she knows she can get guys, and there's a lot of guys out there she could pull this kind of crap with. But still, nobody is worth dealing with an attitude like this. Nobody is worth that. It says here, in fact, the dating coach says it should be a requirement for a man to pay the bills in a relationship, and a high-value woman should accept nothing less. A requirement that guys have to pay all the bills, I'm assuming dating and in the relationship? That doesn't sound like equality to me. Last time I checked, there's a certain group fighting for equality, and hey, if the gals want equality, then guys don't always have to pay the bill, or you can split the check, or take her out for coffee and all that. But nope, no splitting bills with her. The influencer, who has over 19,000 followers on TikTok, whoopee, attributes the value she holds to one she learned from her own family life. So her mom's that way? She said, I was fortunate enough to grow up with both my parents, so I had a clear example of how gender roles build the foundation of a healthy and long-lasting relationship, Ella told Need to Know UK. She said, I grew up with a providing father and a nurturing mother who had the luxury of raising children and being a stay-at-home mom. There is nothing in the way this article is written and her quotes that makes this gal make me think that she is a nurturing, loving type. Maybe her mom really was. Maybe her dad could provide because he made a darn good income, and he was a masculine guy, and the mom was a loving, nurturing mother. But this gal here sounds like an egomaniac. She sounds like a typical Western gal that, believe me, Even though, like I said, she's pretty face, decent body, but she's not that hot. She's replaceable. She's a dime a dozen. She's a piece of ass. Why deal with this? She says here, by splitting the bill, I'm agreeing to form a connection with a man who doesn't know his role in a relationship and expects me to be 50% of the man he's not. Nice way to twist it around. He's not a man if he asks you to split the check. She says, I've learned that men who split the bill don't value the time and effort a woman puts into herself to look her best for that man. Well, let's be honest here. There are a lot of gals that put little time into their outfits and how they look, and they still expect the man to pay for everything. She says, plus 50-50 men don't understand that the woman's investment was made prior to the date. Guess what? The guy also brings something to the table, you know. This isn't just about he's so lucky to have her grace him with her presence. She's a chick. There's 8 billion people on the planet, half are men, half are women. So nobody, man or woman, should go around acting all high and mighty like they're God's gift to the world. Because you're replaceable. Everybody is replaceable. She says, Ella, who is from New York and has in a relationship herself, explains that while she doesn't take being called a gold digger as a compliment, she does take the term to mean she's perceived as a woman who refuses to settle for a man who doesn't respect her. Look, you can have a lot of guys that respect their girl if she's earned the respect and they don't have to pay all the fucking bills all the time and all that. If a gal wants a guy to pay for everything, to me, that sounds like a gold digger. And that is not a positive thing. Not to mention the fact is if she has a career and makes her own money, what, she's never going to pay for anything? She sounds like a taker, not a giver, and that is not girlfriend material. She said the term gold digger refers to a woman that's money hungry. She says, however, the term has been thrown around to every woman that decides to raise her standards in dating and expects her partner to be financially stable and to provide for her. What is she providing to him? Because a gal that's that demanding does not sound like nurturing and loving to me. In fact, if the guy ever fell in hard times, that same girl, who's supposedly high value here, would leave him high and dry. That's my interpretation. That's pretty much what happened. And again, what is her value exactly? Her looks, her face, her ass. Sure, in the 20s, in a gal's prime, she looks her best. But as she gets older, her value depreciates while his value appreciates in value. Makes more money, you get the point. Sadly, there are a lot of men who are frustrated with their lives and they're not financially stable, and that makes them deeply insecure. Well, there are guys that are insecure because they don't do well for themselves, and I know guys that don't do well for themselves and are very secure who they are because then they're more than what they bring to the table financially. She also says, I feel like women should learn a few things from gold diggers. They always ask for what they want. She says men have no issue asking for intimacy and submissiveness from a woman. Why should we be hesitant to get our needs met? Are those all your needs? Because there are good gals out there that have needs more than financial. The guy that is actually fun to be around, who is loyal, who they have some of the same values, and I don't mean monetary values. I can go on here beyond him paying for the freaking dinner. For Ella, demanding certain requirements is not simply about money, but about quantifying the effort a man is willing to put in. What is she willing to put in herself? And I'm not talking about her makeup job or how her hair looks when you meet up at freaking the steakhouse in the city. When the dating coach's clients come to her begging for help in their dating lives, she often advises them not to accept a coffee date as an acceptable courting method from men. Well, they're not going to like you guys because I tell you guys all the time, one drink for the first date. You can meet up at a good bar, have a beer, have some wine, whatever. Or if you don't drink alcohol or you're too young, a coffee date or a tea. Or hell, go for a fucking walk in the park if you're in a nice area. So clearly she wouldn't like any of you. And again, by doing that, the ones that are clearly with a high mighty attitude like her, or ones like her, they're not going to be interested in you. And real quick, you'll weed out the ones that are using you. Because you don't want a chick that wants to be around you only for what you can buy her on a date and all that. You want to be around her, she actually generally likes you for you. Now, sure, of course, women do like guys that are successful and do well for themselves, but still, you get my point. And only then over time, when she earns a full-on meal by showing genuine interest in you, etc., then you can do that. But usually I wouldn't be spending a whole lot of money until at least you've hooked up once. She says here, coffee dates are disrespectful to women and a waste of time. Well, again, they're a great way to weed these types out. She says it says a lot about man's intentions with that woman. If a woman really likes a guy and wants to get to know him, she'll understand, hey, one drink. And she probably will recognize that her time is valuable too. I've known a lot of single gals that they won't do first dates on Friday or Saturday because that's the night they actually want to, if they're dating a couple guys, like they broke up recently and they're dating a couple guys to see, a good fit for them. Haha. The one that's more along the way, that could be like the Saturday or Friday night. But the one who they're just meeting the first time, that could be a Tuesday after work or Wednesday. So one drink. So a lot that are practical are going to recognize one drink and see where it goes. But again, a great way to weed them out. You guys, for you to do relationships, don't need gals like this. They're assholes. And being in a relationship with someone like this, they're always going to be demanding. It says here, a man that proposes a coffee date doesn't perceive you as a worthy of his time and effort, and probably is diversifying his money so he can date as many women as he can with the minimum effort. Well, maybe he is dating a bunch of gals, but guess what? The likelihood is she's good looking, she's dating a bunch of guys. But it's not a perceiving you as a waste of his time, he just doesn't want to waste his money. Despite the backlash she receives online, Ella claims there are many misconceptions about women who demand more from their men. She said, most people think that we're selfish, but I don't think that's the truth. Because you are a selfish person, of course you don't think that's the truth. She says, a high-value woman knows what she brings to the table and expects the same in return. Okay, well, what is your definition of high value? You're pretty, you got a body, you got a nice rack, you got a nice tight ass. That's great and all, don't get me wrong. I like those things as much as the next guy. But if she has a giant ego, if she thinks that she is God's gift to the world, then no thank you. I would take a girl that would be a 7, a 6 in looks and body type department that has a great personality, isn't like this, versus a gal that's 9 or 10 and has this attitude. As I'm sure overwhelmingly most of you guys. She says another assumption is that we don't work or we're lazy. But a woman with high standards in dating always makes sure that the man is able to provide for both, in case she doesn't want to work. I've seen women building their businesses and focusing on themselves while being provided for a man. Well, that's a load of crap. And as being reduced to our looks, although a woman's beauty is a valuable aspect, we understand the value a woman brings to a relationship, such as emotional stability, nurturing qualities, and support. There's nothing about this gal that tells me that she brings emotional stability, nurturing qualities, and support. Someone like this that's really focused on what he's willing to spend and provide and take care of her will drop this guy the second he no longer can provide that. When he lost his job, a bad investment happened, he went out of business, who the fuck knows? She says, many studies have shown that men can't live without a woman. Really? We better a man's life in all aspects. Really? And since we know what we bring, we expect the man to bring his part. Well, newsflash. Times are a-changing because many men are walking away. Walking away from marriage, walking away from relationships, walking away from dating, even walking away from hookups because they know what's out there nowadays. And right here, this article backs up why so many men are walking away. So your pickiness is going to get you in trouble. And your clients, they may be in their 20s and in their prime, but by the time they get to their 30s or so, if they haven't roped in a sucker, they can't afford to be as picky because they're, number one, the thing they bring to the table, looks and body type, are going to be a depreciating asset. It is what it is. I'm not saying you can't have darn good looking gals in their 30s, 40s, and shit, even in their 50s sometimes, but it's not the same as the prime, and the looks will fade. For Ella, the proof of her method is not only mirrored in her own life, but in that of her clients, who have allegedly turned around their dating lives by following her advice. If the gals follow her advice, they're going to get two types of guys. Either they're going to get the guy who has resources, advanced degrees, good paying job, who is a classic nice guy provider, beta male provider, who's just so happy to get a good-looking girl, he's willing to throw everything at her, and she's not going to love him. She's not going to respect him. She'll be involved with him because of what he can provide. She'll even marry him if she's getting older, but the odds are it'll be an unhappy marriage, and they'll stay together and she'll be unhappy. He'll be unhappy, or she'll cheat and they'll divorce. Or these types will get a high-value guy who's high value in terms of resources, job, all that, but also he actually has some swagger and charm, and he actually has a catch, and women do like him, and he'll just string her along and jerk her around. That's what's going to happen. She added, I helped a girl who had a past of dating broke men who did nothing for her, and she confessed to me that she was tired of splitting the bill, getting disrespected, and being cheated on. Right there, broke men, disrespected, cheated on, means she chases after the bad boys. After I coached her, she's able to build her self-esteem up and gain confidence in herself. Now she's in a stable relationship where she is fully provided for, and her boyfriend founded her successful business. So she went from the bad boys that would cheat on her and stood her up to the guy who's stable and providing for her. That's called nice guy provider, beta male provider. And she says founded her successful business, meaning he financed that. That's what she did. She went from the bad boys to the nice guy who can provide. But those types are always still attracted to the bad boys, and we'll go back to them when they get bored. I also recently coached a very intelligent woman who is a financial advisor. She works in a place full of rich men and millionaires, but struggled to get the right attention and to be approached by men who took her seriously. Through various sessions of coaching, she was able to feel comfortable in her femininity and set boundaries, which led to her having a pool of men ready to court her and pursue her for a serious relationship. Well, again, the odds are beta male providers. After Ella posted a clip on TikTok saying her standards are low if you've never been called a gold digger, comments were divided. One person said, I've never been called that in my life. I also always made my own money and never saw a man as a cash machine. I somehow had higher ambition. Another wrote, gold digging a flex, damn, we know where you stand. Third one said, or maybe I have my own money. Others, however, were quick to agree with Ella. One person wrote, my ex called me a gold digger for not believing nor wanting to do 50-50 with him. Guys, you do relationships. If your girl is never willing to spend any money on you, she's a taker, run for the hills. But like I said, back to the first date thing. One drink, alcohol, coffee. If she doesn't want to go for this, then she's not worth your time. It's the best way to weed them out from the get-go. While another said, I've been called that plenty of times by broke men. And a third girl added, you're right, it's a badge of honor, wear it proud, ladies. So there you go, guys. And at the end of the article, there was a poll. And I took this poll. The poll said, do you typically split bills on dates? Out of the poll, 8% said yes, I do. 15% said sometimes. 56% said no, I don't. And 21% others does not apply. So only 8% of dudes that responded to this said they do. They split the bills. So in other words, well, actually, it's guys and gals that did this. The point is, well, maybe it is just guys that respond to this. The point is, most of them don't have the balls to say it. So there you go. But anyhow, guys, let me an entertaining one to go over to show you what is out there, what is being taught. And I guess the biggest thing is, and she doesn't seem to realize, because she's 24 years old, and it's my experience that the 24-year-old, mid-20s types nowadays, they have the level of maturity at 24 that I had and my class did when we graduated high school. So that's not a whole lot of experience, not a lot of maturity. And sure, she's good looking, decent looking, but not super hot in my opinion, but good looking. And she's in her prime, so she can get guys. But this attitude is going to change eventually over time when she realizes it's not as desirable. Sure, mid-20s, she can go and get into a club. Guys are hitting on her, all that, but that's going to change. And like I said, as more and more guys are realizing they're not falling for a lot of the crap they used to, or are waking up and bettering themselves and realizing, hey, I got value too. I bring things to the table. It isn't just all about you and because you're a pretty face. These types that hire her and follow her advice are going to be in big trouble, okay? Unless they're 9s and 10s. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a never-ending supply of guys out there that are clueless and will throw money at girls just to get a pretty girl in their arm. But there's less and less, and I'm glad I can do my part to help them out. So guys, don't fall for this bullshit. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to gals. Don't take advice from gals dating. One drink only, or you can split the bill from time to time. And if your girlfriend is unwilling to spend or pay for a dinner or whatever, that tells you everything you need to know. Don't be like these guys are going to be definitely taken advantage of. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.